Hello there. I'm delighted to say that I'm here with my very good friend, Cameron John Robbins, the gentleman artist, and we are going to go through a series of Cameron's outstanding portraits of historical figures, modern and historic. And Cameron will talk about the portraits, what inspired them, about the individuals, the portraits themselves, how they came about. I will talk about them from a facial analysis perspective. So without further ado, let me bring up the first image to share.
And here we have Kate Middleton. There's not a whole lot of story to this one. I've painted lots and lots of portraits of men. As a man, perhaps I have a particularly easy resonance with portraits of men. I'm not opposed to painting portraits of women. In fact, I'm delighted to do so. But it's different. I resonate differently. I approach it differently. I think about it differently, rightly or wrongly. That's what I'm doing. But so that my availability to take on commissions of women as well as men was clear, I knew I needed to add a few more portraits of women into my body of work so that people would see, it's like, okay, he can paint both. So that was part of the motivation. Kate Middleton was on the list because, well, she's also a royal. And, I chose it partly for practical reasons. So, I need more portraits of women. Painting royals would also appeal to the audience that I need to reach because my commissions are, the fees are pricey. It's a high ticket item. And so there's a very particular group of people for whom that will appeal and who can do that and who are willing to do that. And so there were a number of factors I was trying to bring together, plus the fact that she's just so lovely. And I admit I have a bit of a crush on her. So all that put together is how I arrived at painting her portrait.
Okay.
Not very dramatic and maybe not even that impressive a reason, but that's how we got here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to change things a little bit here. So rather than an image, I'm going to show a short video clip. And
Okay.
I'm curious, I'm going to ask you what you make of the video clip. It's about 10 seconds. It's her first announcement after her health scare, and she made a short public video. It's, like I say, it's about 10 seconds, but I want to highlight a couple of particular things, and it's not about her character. It's just a couple of things I'm curious about myself. So let's see if we can.
Right.
Oops, the cursor's not.
I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too.
Okay, let's see if we can go back. Did anything stand out for you there? I know it's very short.
It's very short and it moves very fast. There was a lot of controversy and even conspiracy theories connected to this video.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not entirely satisfied one way or another. There are some slightly odd anomalies about it that have made people suspect that it was an AI generated video. And I've seen some of the things about you pointing out this and that, and it's like, I'm not entirely convinced either way. Since she has reemerged publicly, the concern about her already being deceased and this was some sort of gaslighting smokescreen would appear to be dispelled. not only because she has reemerged publicly, but the circumstances under which she has reemerged. It's like, it's her. She's alive. She's fine. I don't know what went into this or who was involved or whose advice was taken, but under the circumstances at the time, I would say that it was a bad idea. It was handled very poorly. This did not help the situation at the time, because she'd been missing for months. There had been reports of, medical problems, and no word, nothing for months. And then this comes out and everybody's like, hang on a minute. That's not entirely believable. It's like really, really good. And AI is getting better by the minute. But there were enough oddities that made people say, hang on a minute, is this real? And for that reason alone, I think some poor choices were made. Whoever made them, I think that was a bad move.
Yeah.
They should have done something differently to dispel the rumors and reassure the public, like, this was a bad choice.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously I'm aware of the conspiracy theories, but I won't go there. I just work on the premise that this is Kate, Duchess of Cambridge.
Sure.
And there were a couple of things that struck me. Number one, she's talking about something very significant, very emotional, very challenging. And yet, what you notice is her eyebrows never move. And you can watch the whole interview. It's about, or the whole video. It's about 2 minutes long, and not once do her eyebrows move. And that's quite extraordinary.
Right.
So
it's extraordinary either way.
Yeah.
Right. Because if it was a fabricated video, that's one of those anomalies that made people go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Is this real?
Yeah.
If that is a genuine trait of hers, that is also an extraordinarily unusual trait. Everybody's face is slightly animated when they speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So regardless of the reason why, it's strikingly strange that her eyebrows never move during the whole 2 minutes. Like we've got about 10 seconds or thereabouts here, but the whole 2 minutes or so of the video, her eyebrows never move. And that, for anybody, even if you've had Botox, you would still expect some degree of movement, particularly when you're talking about something so stressful and challenging. So it's really quite bizarre. And the other thing then, and I know, I'm assuming, like I said, that this is the real person, because AI has been doing very strange things with hands and, 6 fingers and all of that.
Yes. Yes.
But the thing that's very noticeable is the amount of comforting she's doing with her hands. So it's
as in self-soothing.
Self-soothing, absolutely. Very, 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 very stressful situation. But again, it highlights the fact that her eyebrows never move, despite the fact that she's clearly so much under stress.
That's an interesting observation, because it could be evidence of the genuineness of the video. The difficulty with using AI or fabricating things from scratch is it means you have to think of everything. And I look at the arm of the bench she's on, and there are little gouges that indicate it's a weathered bit of wood. There's little marks around the bench. If you're going to create in CG a wooden bench, that means you not only have to think of putting weathering damage on it, you have to think about where it should go, and there's always a story.
Yeah.
Which bit of the object gets the most like on the slats that form the back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There are horizontal
Mhm.
grooves that are indicative of or consistent with a slightly rougher finish of boards that went through a planer.
Yeah.
Like maybe it didn't get sanded enough and they just slapped paint on it.
Mhm.
If you're going to artificially weather or strategically weather something, you either have to think of that or it's going to just be random things you put in random places.
Yeah.
It's not going to indicate a story unless you're clever enough to think of that. It's the same with the self-soothing hands. If you're going to fabricate a video of someone to reassure the public, and your mandate, your brief, is to create a video to reassure the public that everything's okay, you are very unlikely to think, well, she's just being strong, so let's add the self-soothing hand behaviors to hide the stress or mitigate the stress so that she can keep a brave face on. It's like, you don't do that. Very few people would ever think to do that.
Yeah.
So, they highlighted teeth, the eyebrows, the ring that seems to appear or disappear. The inconsistency of the breeze movements, like there's breeze on the flowers, but her hair never moves. All of these details that people have called out, yeah, they make the whole thing slightly suspicious.
Yeah.
And yet, looking at it again and talking through it with you, there are other things that suggest it's genuine. So I go back to my original critique of it. It's like, whatever this was or was meant to be, I think this was a bad decision.
Yep.
I mean, maybe it's genuine, it was AI enhanced or doctored in some way. Who knows? But yeah, they didn't do themselves any. Whoever did this did not help the situation. They actually made it worse.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going to run it through once more.
Then I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop the share, but that's the most extraordinary thing, that the eyebrows never move. And when you see that, it raises questions as to what's really going on.
What's really going on? Yeah.
It's the most natural thing in the world for our eyebrows to raise when we meet somebody, or when we're talking, we're expressing ourselves about anything of significance. That there be some degree of movement there. The only situation where you're likely to get the complete non-movement would be if somebody had extreme Botox, and there's certainly been no public record of her having Botox at all. Or you will get some people on the autistic spectrum, where where that doesn't happen, but they're very, very rare. And again, there's no indication, never has been any reference to her being anywhere on the spectrum. So it's very, very curious.
It might be worth, on that line of investigation, it might be worth looking at other video of her speaking if you can find it, because in addition to the lack of eyebrow movement, there was also a pronounced upward eyebrow cock on the left side.
Left side, yeah.
And so does that appear in other videos? Is that just the shape of her eyebrows? Because some people, or is it like a frozen expression as she tries to hold herself together to deliver the message?
It's very difficult to do.
Does that appear in other videos or pictures? Yeah. And, does she have eyebrow movement in other video where she's speaking? I did notice this time the hair question, the hair isn't reacting to the breeze the way some people pointed out, but it is moving as her head moves in a very realistic, natural way. And as someone who's worked with some CGI and AI generated things, one thing that's extremely difficult to make work, extremely difficult, is hair and hair movement. And when it's CGI fabricated, again, you have to think of everything. People almost invariably overdo it. It overmoves. It's over dramatic. It's the look at me, look at what I did kind of need to be noticed with artists and what we create. Her hair and when it's in the CG universe, it lacks all mass and weight. And the movement of her hair in that video had mass, had weight. The movement was there, but it was also subtle. All details that would make me think that was genuine. So yeah, a very curious historical event, perhaps a minor one in hindsight or in time, but a very curious one.
An enduring mystery.